Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for our next UKCCF podcast. I'm joined today by my regular partner in crime, Chris D'Souza. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Trevor. You okay?
Very well, thank you. Yourself?
Excellent. Really excited by today's podcast.
Good. And yes, our guest today is Michael Wyatt, who is the Director of Chrome Enterprise for EMEA. Hi, Michael, and welcome.
Yeah, hi, Trevor. Thanks for the invitation. Hi, Chris. Good to see you. And same as Chris. Really looking forward to our chat today.
Yeah, we're looking forward to some insight that you're going to be giving out. So so we're all set, ready to go. So I think without further ado, let's get the session going. So, Chris, first question for myself. One of the things I keep thinking about every now and then, from an IT perspective, is how have contact centres changed, in your view, over the last 5 years?
Yeah, really good question, and that assumes that they have, and my word, they have. So, I actually, before I was at Google, I actually worked for Avaya for about 4 years, and now Chrome OS over the last 12 months or so has become a solution that we're really taking into contact centres. So I'm actually relearning about contact centres, and I'm absolutely amazed at how they've changed. I think the big one, and it's an obvious one, is this hybrid remote working. Coming out of COVID, a lot of our customers and a lot of contact centers really had to change the way that they or where their agents sat, really, and how they ensure that the technology sort of supported them in that remote and home working scenario. So in fact, there was give you a stat to start the session.
Oh, stats.
We like a stat.
Yeah, there was a Gartner survey that revealed that 70% of customer service and support employees actually want to continue working from home, post-pandemic. So these agents, they've got used to it, and not only do they want to do it short term, they want to do it over the next few years as well. And it's expected that this innovation in customer service, and especially the tech stack, will really continue to deliver, improvements to make hybrid models and primary work models work. And one of the things that you need for that is you need a good device and a good set of technology to allow that to be successful. So a good example is one of our customers had a load of our competitors' machines out there, and one of the things that they found was really difficult was how to manage them remotely, because they were updating, and when one went wrong, when you're in the office, if one of these machines, fat clients, goes wrong, you would walk down to the IT down the corridor and you'd give it to an IT professional. When they mend it, you'd probably be off for a few hours, but it would get mended. But remotely, that's actually really hard to do. So one of the things that Chrome OS provides is a really easy management layer that saves time for all of that, but keeps the agent really productive. And in fact, there was a 2021 McKinsey & Company report that said that there's a 24% increase in migration to cloud, because cloud technologies give you that, ease of management, if you like, but also, with Chrome, it also allows you to have the most secure operating system out there as well. So not only does it make it easy to deploy this technology, as you go into the pandemic, you need to deploy it out there, but it also allows, a much better sort of way of managing these devices remotely as well. And I think with this distributed contact center agent, which is going on, it's quite a new thing. This managing remotely, it also has raised the employee expectations as well. So, that the employees just want something that works. They don't want to be stressed out. The agents don't want to be stressed out by, not being online, or the technology going down when they're on a call. So yeah, it's a mixture of a lot of things, but I think that's the main change that I've seen over the last few years. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that with one of our members in particular, before the pandemic, they've got a 150-seat contact centre, and everybody used to come in every day to work. Because of the pandemic, they now have only 6 people coming into the contact centres to work, because that's the way they want to work. Everyone else works from home.
Yeah.
Life balance and all those sort of things are
there. And I think another part of that, which is an interesting thing, which we've only just sort of started to discover over the last few months, is energy usage as well. We know what's going on at the moment with energy prices, and if you're working from home and you're an agent, you're potentially now paying for your own energy. I mean, I know some companies do subsidise, but majority of agents are paying for their own energy. So, if you've got a laptop or a device that's using a lot of energy, that's costing you personal money. And the good thing about Chrome, we've done some work over the last year or so on sustainability around Chrome. And one of the good things about Chrome is it uses 46% less power than a competitor's device. So again, just little things like that where contact centers can really help, not just make the agents productive at home, but also can hopefully reduce their bills a little bit as well, which is important at the moment, as we know.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
So I suppose the trajectory of what we're doing here, so migrating to a Chrome operating system within the contact center, it's almost, it feels like we're heading to a model very much like we used to have the old thin clients, if you remember those. So, by deploying Chrome OS into the contact center, what are the benefits? How do you keep the contact center operating smoothly, or the contact center virtual estate operating in a smooth manner?
Really good question, and it's a few pillars. I mean, I think the first one is, if we look at security as the first one, it's the most secure operating system out there. It's never been hit by a ransomware attack in the last 11 years, which is amazing. And also, you don't need any additional antivirus or any additional security on top of the device. So the first thing is it's just secure out the box. That's something an IT manager doesn't have to worry about, which a lot of our customers really see as a massive benefit. I think the other one is just the reduction. One of the big benefits we've seen is the reduction in agent downtime. So it saves up to something like 3 hours a week, which doesn't sound a lot, but if you've got 1,000 agents out there, you multiply that by 52 weeks a year. That's actually a lot of downtime and a lot of reduction in customer experience as well, which is what all of these contact centers are trying to improve all the time. So it really, because it's such an easy set of devices to manage. We got one customer who got hit by COVID and had to get 25,000. It's a bank, had to get 25,000 of their employees up to speed quickly, working from home, and had to do it securely as well. Now, luckily, they were only accessing about 4 apps through a browser, so Chrome was an absolute no-brainer for them. But what they did is they already had a whole load of Windows machines, so they didn't have the budget to go and buy 25,000 machines. So about a year ago, we launched something called Chrome OS Flex. And Chrome OS Flex allows you to put Chrome OS on up to a 10-year-old laptop and make it a full Chrome machine. So not only did they save the cost of 25,000 machines, they've now got this cloud-based, very secure, easy to manage operating system for all of their employees as well. And then I think the other one is deploying it. Imagine deploying 25,000 devices at home. Just the sustainability part of that, sending the devices out, for example. The good news is that you can deploy Chrome about 76% faster than you can the equivalent Windows device. That really helps reducing stress for the agents, and because this is what it's all about. It's all about making the agent, first of all, making the agent really, really productive, but also making sure you've got the tools that are easy to manage, that are really, really secure as well. So they're the main benefits we see from most of our customers.
So there's a huge environmental piece here, isn't there? Because I'm thinking back to, we've mentioned COVID a few times, but I remember when we all got sent home and my children got sent home, and all of a sudden they needed laptops and they needed some kind of computing power to carry on working from home or schooling from home. And I sort of went into the garage and pulled out these old laptops which had been consigned there for a number of years, and I kind of got a version of Chrome onto this. Is that the same kind of thing that you're seeing in contact centers?
Yeah,
so rather than you recycling a load of equipment.
Yeah, and it is a huge thing, right? I mean, I actually drive the sustainability sort of program for Google Chrome across the globe, and there are 3 elements to sustainability of devices. So I'm quite passionate about this. So there's 550 million devices. So tablets and laptops produced a year, right? So the first thing is, if you can prevent those going into e-waste, if you can prevent those being thrown away, if you can prevent people actually buying the device, then that's a huge impact on the planet. So yeah, the first thing is, if you can repurpose those devices, and it can be Apple or Windows devices. So basically USB stick with Chrome OS in it, or remotely deployed. You can make literally a 10-year-old laptop into a brand new machine, basically. So one thing is reducing the e-waste. The first one is the big impact on the planet is actually manufacturing these devices. So again, if you can reuse those devices, then you're not going through that process. And then the second one, the middle bit, is the usage of it. So how much power, how much consumption does the device actually consume day-to-day usage? And with Flex on it, again, we're looking at about sort of low 20% reduction in energy over a Flex on a Windows device over a standard Windows device. But the other thing is, you just mentioned, I did this as well. When we launched Flex, I went into the garage, and I've got a pile of old Windows laptops because I used Windows before. And I switched one of them on, and literally, I mean, it tried to update, and I think it would probably have just kept updating forever because it was so old. But yeah, so I literally put Chrome OS on it, and funny enough, for my daughter as well. And yeah, literally we had a competition actually the other day. We had an event out in Amsterdam, and we gave out 20 devices to the audience, and we timed them. How long would it take you to get Chrome OS on it? And I think 2 minutes 20 seconds was the best one. So it's really, really, really quick to do. So yeah, so really excited about it from a sustainability angle, but also a cost angle. We're in a recession, or we're going into recession, depending on which prime minister you believe, what day of the week. That's another. Let's not get into politics. But no, I think the cost of it. Companies are. Budgets are going to go down, right? People are going to try and work out how they can get more out of their current devices, because it's expensive buying new devices, especially if you've got to upgrade to Windows 11. That's an expensive thing to do. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of interest, and a lot of customers now starting to deploy Flex out there. We call it Flex, Chrome OS Flex, and I'm really pleased with that, because anything that can help save energy, it's got to be a good thing.
Without going off topic too much, but what people get very excited about is the amount of carbon they're saving. Have you, as Google, or have you done any research as to sort of, if you do that transformation from Windows machine, and you upcycle an old laptop, and I'm sure that's got quite a bit of life left in it, what sort of typically are you seeing?
I mean, there's a few ways of looking at it. The first one is that Chrome is a cloud-based operating system. Okay, so it works in the cloud, and it works on Google Cloud. So I've been working actually with the Google Cloud team, because I'm quite. It's really interesting to see the messaging and the work that we've done as an organisation in our cloud infrastructure, because you can imagine running. I think we have 7 products with over 1 billion users on it now. So just imagine being in a data center and watching all of the Google photos getting downloaded in a minute, or video or YouTube videos. The scale is just phenomenal. All the billions of Android users that have to go through these data centers. So the first thing is, so we want to go carbon free by 2030. We were carbon neutral by 2017. So we've really led, being a big IT company, we've really led the way in that. And we're actually the cleanest cloud company out there now, and increased to do a lot, continue to do a lot around that. So the first one is it works on the cleanest cloud. That's the first bit. And then the second bit is the work that we've done actually around the physical devices and the energy that they use and the energy that they consume. Because obviously, if you're 46% less energy than a comparable device, and that's average, it could be higher, it can be lower depending on the device and the work scenario. And also your staff are working at home, right? Because that's a big thing, right? Not having to travel into the office, whether it be train or a car, and also using, hopefully Google Meets, but all the collaboration tools that are out there to do what we're doing via video. You put all of those things together, and you're making a really, really big impact. In fact, end user computing consume 1% of the electricity out there. So it's within IT. So it's a really, really big thing. I think, to put that into perspective, if you can imagine a forest the 4 times the size of France. Imagine imagine that not being there. That's the impact of, you know, end user computing on the world. So it's a massive thing. So yeah, anything I can do and my sales team can do to try and push Chrome, not just because it's a great set of devices and a great operating system, but if it can somehow just make a little bit of dent on help, you know, saving the planet. That's what really, one of the reasons I really love working here, actually, because I love pushing that narrative. So, yeah.
Amazing.
Right. One of the topics that I'm being asked by our members to cover off more and more now, especially within the contact centre, is cybersecurity.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, sort of, what steps can contact centres make to prioritise cybersecurity in this day and age where there's more and more scams and things going on online?
Yeah, really good question. I was at a CIO roundtable a few weeks back, actually, and there was a, you know, one of these tables where you all discuss stuff, and I was a little bit nervous because it was all security, right? So, and sometimes when you talk about security, it can really go off in different tangents because it's such a massive subject. But we went around the table, and these were really, really big companies. So these was, you know, CISOs, CEOs, really, you know, top sort of board members of these really big companies. And we went around the table and just everyone was very open and honest. And we asked about, you know, security and what they think the current threats are and how important they are. And every single one of them said, yeah, we're going to get hit. Somehow we're going to get it. We don't know when, we don't know how big, but we know that we are going to get hit because, like you just said, we're in that world now where there are threats coming from everywhere. And I think if you've got a distributed workforce as well, makes it even harder because you can't, you know, majority of security threats do come from an employee, right? Clicking on an email link or doing something that, you know, natural in their day-to-day world. So I think, you know, now that the workspace is entirely online, that threat vector is just huge. So IT needs to be really diligent about preventing, you know, remote data and security breaches, but they've also got to try and remain compliant around the privacy rules, such as, you know, in Europe, GDPR, and things like that. So managing these workforces needs and changes along with technology enhancements, you know, have become a real challenge for teams. That's IT teams. That's what I found as I talked to more companies. And the growing risk of ransomware, especially malware and employee errors, you put all of that together, and also protecting customers' information as well, especially in the call center world, has really become a priority and will remain an even more important priority as we go on. And as I say, it's really, really important for that remote workforce as well. So it's really important to consider how up to date your security is, and you know, the good thing about Chrome is it's got built-in antivirus, built-in security. You know, you buy either an HP, Lenovo, Acer, or Dell laptop, because they're all the OEMs that support us. You buy the management license, and that's it. You don't need any other AV, any other layers behind it. I was talking to a bank the other day. They've got 5 security layers, and they use Citrix, and Chrome works really well in a VDI scenario as well. And they just said that the customer CSAT, because of all these layers of security and how it just slows and sludges up the whole experience, is awful. You know, it's literally going down every day. So yeah, just imagine an operating system that just has all of that built in, that's never been hit in its history by a ransomware attack. That's another reason why a lot of these customers are looking at Chrome and going Chrome.
Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned user error there, because one of the things which I think lots of businesses take very seriously is, you know, the sort of phishing exercises. So people are sending emails to people and then they open up links, etc. Is there an element of protection that's built in if someone does click one of those malicious links?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you have Workspace and Gmail, I would promote that, because that's a Google collaborative suite. yeah, there's through the console you can do things like that. But again, going back to that CIO roundtable that we were talking about, working from home. Sorry, my dog's just come in the door. Yeah, we're talking about that roundtable that we had. Every single one of the companies, I thought this was really interesting, but they do like covert exercises where they send emails to their employees. Not telling their employees that it's come from HR department, for example, and then they track how many of the employees click on the email. So a lot of it is around education as well. The tools can help you, the IT can help you, but a lot of it's around education. And interestingly, quite a few of the people around the table said most of the people that clicked on those links were actually board members. so I'm not saying that's general across the whole industry because it isn't, but yeah, it was quite interesting to see. It doesn't matter what level you are. These scamming and phishing emails, they're so clever, that even it can hit everybody at any time. So yeah, there's tools around that as well. But it's a big subject, isn't it? And everyone just seems to be talking about it more and more. Sustainability and security seem to be the two really big things at the moment. Yeah,
definitely.
I think they're the two things that can just literally damage your business. So
absolutely. I'll tell you a quick story because it's a great one, actually. There's a company called Nordics Choice hotels out in the Nordics. And there's a case study, actually. If you Google Nordics Choice Hotel Chrome, you can see the case study in the video. And this was a hotel chain. They looked at Chrome about a year ago. All Windows, right? So the whole fleet, everything was working on Windows. They didn't really have any reason to change, if you like, and then sort of Q3 last year, literally their whole business got hit by a ransomware attack, and it was so disruptive that it was actually stopping customers coming in and checking into the hotel at the front desk. So it literally shut down the business overnight. And the team huddled really quickly, thought about what solution they could put in place really quickly, and they put Flex on all of those devices. I think it was 2,500 users. They did it in like 24 hours. So they completely changed their whole computing strategy, whole operating system, all of it in 24 hours. But the really interesting thing is they didn't have to buy new devices. They put Flex on them. So after that, they've now done this study around sustainability because the owner of Nordics Choice is a big a big supporter of anything sustainable. So we worked with our external analyst company, a company called PX3, and they did a report with Nordics Choice Hotel. And yeah, they're saving like 26% energy as well by doing this. So not only are they now completely secure, they kept their business up and running literally within 24 to 48 hours. But they've also got this great sustainability story. Yeah, I would say go and have a look at the video because it's so compelling. And it annoys me a little bit because I'd love everyone else to do the same thing. So that's what I'm trying to preach out there. There is another operating system out there that you can use that has loads of benefits. So,
so we touched on attrition at the top of the conversation, and also obviously we've got this trend towards remote working and hybrid, which for all intents and purposes is going to stay. But the hot topic, so with everyone I talk to within the contact center industry, is we've got people falling out of the doors of contact centers. How can this help, and how can we optimize contact center or the contact center environment to try and tackle this high level of attrition that we're seeing?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think it's always been a factor, isn't it? Definitely. But I think it seems to be. I think quite a lot of people have got COVID fatigue, right? We've all been doing this for the last 2 years, the last 2.5 years, and I'm having a lot of conversations around well-being and keeping employees sort of on top of their game and productive, if you like. So if you think of an agent sitting there, most of them want to do the right thing, right? They want to offer great customer experience, great customer service, not just the people that own the contact center, but the actual individual agents themselves and the employees themselves. And one of the things that's super frustrating, and I know I years ago, I used to work in a contact center. One of the things that's really frustrating is if you can't offer that service. You know, if you get, you know, someone's waited 20 minutes holding on a call to get through to their energy company, they finally get through to the agent, and this is something happened to me a couple of weeks ago, finally get through to the agent, and then, you know, you're talking for 10 minutes, they're checking all your security and everything, and then their system goes down. The stress that agent feels because they can't offer that, and also the potential negativity they get from the customer ringing in, hold on a minute, I just held on for 20 minutes and now you're telling me you can't access my data. That really increases stress levels, definitely. And I think also, if you have a lot of upset customers calling you every day, that's not nice. People don't want to talk to people that are frustrated all day long. And so I think that, you know, those two things alone can be really detrimental and can really cause attrition, because agents are just like, I'm not putting up with this anymore, and I don't need to be shouted at every 5 minutes. And part of that, and it's not the whole answer, but a part of that is if you give them the tools and you give them the technology that just works. I mean, if you could just have one screen, one user interface for an agent and everything is in that user interface, you know, call recording, customer records, the whole lot is that in that one screen, that would be amazing. You know, I've gone to some contact center customers where they've got 3 screens, which, as you can imagine, uses quite a lot of energy, but they have to log into multiple systems. And if one of those systems goes down, they can't do their job. That you don't want your contact center agents to be IT professionals. That isn't their job. Their job is just give me the device, and this is what technology is supposed to do for human beings. Give me the device, give me the laptop that just lets me do what I want to do every day really, really well, because that will allow me to give better experience. So it's all interlinked, but it's a lot of things, I think.
I think you're absolutely right when you talk about agents really wanting to give a good service and are getting almost handcuffed from doing so by process and some of the way technology is deployed. And it gives me a huge amount of comfort when, you know, I get involved with, you know, the contact center awards, and you get to meet agents and you hear that passion that still exists within the industry. But there's some daft decisions get made. I remember it was one contact center that I was looking at where from a security perspective, they would time out your login after, I think it was some arbitrary of like 8 minutes. So you can start having a conversation with a customer. 8 minutes later, you've got to log back into the CRM, and they were forever doing that. And that was the number one. You know, you asked them about what would you change. You know, it wasn't higher pay or more holidays. It's, please stop the CRM logging me out after 8 minutes.
Yeah. And it's also, you know, if you do have attrition and you're trying to get new agents to work for your company and the CSAT score is so low, you're actually going to find it really hard to attract new people into the business as well. And you know, the other thing is it might sound a bit obvious, but Chrome started in education, right? I mean, obviously a consumer product to start with, but Chrome really became very, very successful in schools and colleges and teachers and students. It became number one very, very quickly and remains number one. And the reason for that is because it's just, you know, for kids, it's a very, very simple thing to use. It's all online, all the tools that the teachers and the kids use run off of it. And what we're finding is that now those kids are grown up, you know, and you know, quite a lot of young people are agents. You know, they start their careers as call center agents and working in call centers. So a lot of those, what we found is a lot of those kids that have now grown up are actually, they come into a call center and they're given this fat client, as you said, that logs them out every 5 minutes and is really hard to access and goes wrong, and you know, and takes ages to update. Because that's the other thing, you know, the amount of time it takes to update these machines. Sometimes you've got to wake up 15 minutes early just to make sure your machine goes through what it's got to go through for it to actually physically work. So yeah, I think a lot of these kids are coming into businesses now and they're going, actually, give me the tools that make my job easy, that don't give me the stress. So we're finding quite a lot of that. And that's another interesting point on the update side as well. I mean, Chrome updates in the background. You don't have to do anything. So there's no user interaction, no IT interaction at all. It literally just updates as you go. I think the other thing for me is also the reliability of these things. I mean, I'm on a Pixelbook Pro here. I was saying to one of my colleagues this morning, actually, I got this machine at the beginning of lockdown, and it's probably on for, my boss is in America, so it's on for quite a long time. It's on for, it's probably on for, I don't know, minimum 8-9 hours a day, and it's never ever missed a beat. It's never turned off. The screen's never gone blank. It's never had to update. It has worked non-stop for like two and a half years, which is, if you're an IT company running a load of agents out there, that's exactly the experience you want, really.
Mm-hmm. That brings me nicely onto this question. One of the topics, or one of the things we're asked a lot, is agent productivity.
Yeah.
It's one of the key things. They're trying to get more from their existing staff, more with less. So where do you see an opportunity to improve agent productivity within a contact centre?
Yeah, good question. Because I think there was some report I read. I'm just seeing my notes here. I think it was a Cornell study, and it said that the cost of replacing a call centre agent is between $5,000 and $7,000. This is American, $5,000 and $7,500. So, going back to your first question about attrition, that just makes that even more important. But I think the first thing is if you do have attrition, you've got to get new agents on board, right? So the first thing you've got to do is you've got to deprovision the old one and you've got to provision the new one. So you've got to get the device working, ideally remotely, in front of that agent really, really quickly. So the first one, to make the product productive, first of all, if they're a new agent, you've got to get them up to speed really quickly. If they're an ongoing agent, then you've got to allow, going back to Chris's point, you've got to allow that they've got, really fast access to all of the applications and all of the tools that they need to use for their job. So that's obvious. Obviously, if you can do that through the cloud, and I know contact centers, some are hybrid, some are going through that process, and some are fully cloud. And a lot of the really big vendors like Genesys and Avaya and all the other huge ones, and smaller ones as well, they've all got cloud systems now. So we will be getting to a stage where you'll be able to run every contact center, from the cloud. So that brings a lot of productivity benefits as well. I think, just fast, secure, easy to use devices. Obviously, that going back to my point, this has never gone down. In the morning, it literally 10 seconds and it's up and running. It doesn't have to go through any update process or anything. I think the other one that's really important is a familiar user interface. Because going back to that bank scenario that I talked about, where they had to get 25 people up and running really, really quickly, a lot of those aren't IT savvy. They're not, they haven't worked at Google for 8 years like I have, or in the contact center for years like you both have. So, and that's not being disrespectful, but people have different levels. Some of these people were like my age, and just not, you don't expect them to be IT professionals, right? So really easy to use interface is very important for productivity as well, I think. And Chrome gives you that. So, easy to onboard, easy to remotely deploy, ease of use as well. And then, potentially shareable. I mean, quite a lot. I'm talking to a lot of BPOs at the moment. In fact, Trevor, you and I, we were out to dinner with one the other night, and right. they flex up and down, right? So, if you've got a contact center for a retailer, guess what? Christmas coming up, you're probably going to need to get 300 agents up and running really, really quickly. So repurposing the devices is really, really important. But also, do you want them shareable? Can you share them between different projects and things like that? Again, which you can do with Chromebook as well. And then just the reduction of downtime, which we've mentioned. Reducing the need for background updates and things like that is really, really important. So it's all of those things really. Long answer, but if you can get all of those things right, and you can with Chrome, I'm doing too much selling here, but you can tell I'm just so passionate that this is a really modern OS. I think one last thing is we've built a thing called a CER program, a Chrome Enterprise Recommended program, because we realise that for people listening to this, whether you're working in a contact center or whether you're building contact centers or running contact centers, you probably use different vendors. That's what I've found. Lots of different vendors, and I won't go through the list, but there are loads more than when I was working at Avaya. Look at the Magic Quadrant. I mean, there's a lot of players, and with a lot of different technology, as I mentioned. It's not just it's multi-channel, it's voice, it's all video, it's everything that goes with that. So we set up this CER program, and external, and you can look at it if you go on Google and search for it, Chrome Enterprise Recommended. You'll see all the external specific contact center vendors that we've got working with Chrome, right? So if you want to deploy a cloud-based Chrome operating system in a call center, and you've got, I don't know, 8x8, Vonage, NICE, Dialpad, Genesis, all these different vendors, they all work with Chrome, which I think is a really, really important thing, because that takes the stress out of IT as well. So
yeah, and of course you got all the new entries, all the new tech companies coming in.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm constantly getting phone calls or emails from people saying, we've just developed this thing, it's the best thing out there. We want to talk to you about how we can get to reach your members. I get them every week. There's always someone new coming into the market every week in this area.
Yeah, and as I said, we've started with a. I think we've got about 15 in there now, but we've got a team in America, and they're continually adding to that. And sorry, that's my dog. And continually adding to that, because the more customers that we sell to, the more external vendors we see that we have to work with and make work with Chrome as well. Yeah. But I will add to that. I mean, this is all sounding really positive, isn't it? But I will add to that. There are some contact center providers that we've spoken to, and outsourcers that we've spoken to, where they still have stuff on-prem, for example, and they still have some applications that only run on Windows, and that's the reality of it out there. So what me and my team try and do is, and this is a conversation we had the other night, Trevor, when we met that outsourcer, is that for certain scenarios Chrome doesn't work. Not because Chrome doesn't work, but because maybe the contact center hasn't fully gone to the cloud, or is using applications that were built a few years ago and things like that. So a good example of that is there's a big outsourcer we're talking to at the moment. In fact, one of the biggest ones. And we sat around the table, and that's how. And this is the reason I'm saying this story, is that's how the conversation went. Well, we've got applications that aren't cloud-based. We've got stuff on-prem. There's lots of reasons why potentially we couldn't go for just a cloud-based operating system at this moment. We will do as we modernize. And then we talked around the table, and then we came to the conclusion that they said, well, I'll tell you what, the next company that we get on board, so the next customer that we get onto our platform, we'll go to them and we'll say, right, we're going to go Chrome. These are the benefits. We do it all in the cloud, because it will be a brand new rollout. And that's what they've done. And actually, they did 1,000 licenses and 1,000 Flex, funnily enough, because they put them on Windows last week. So this all sounds very, very positive, but I know that there is a lot of legacy in contact centers. So I just wanted to caveat, that with the reality of what's out there. But there's still a lot of benefits that are well worth looking at, because it sort of works well into that digital transformation and that cloud story, which is where everyone's wanting to get to, aren't they, eventually?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's also gonna push innovation, isn't it? Because as you quite rightly say, everyone wants to get into that cloud space, and I've talked to some airlines, and some of the systems that exist, are still green screen type of technology, your Unix networks, etc., that still exist within there. And well, crumbs, how are you going to do this stuff that you want to do? Let alone have people working from home. It's but that's one of the things. You either embrace this kind of stuff and recognize that you've got to sort of get yourself out of the, I'm going to say, the 70s in some cases, the 70s and 80s, which we know is still out there.
I think there's also a thought process of, I know some organisations that got some very, very old legacy platforms that go back 20, 30 years. And when they talk to me, they say, it works. Why do we need to change it when the uptime is good, everything works, we don't have any problems? Why invite problems into our home? It works well, does everything we want it to do. But are they setting themselves up for a fall because things are changing so quickly now?
or if they get hit with a ransomware attack.
Yeah.
Going back to my other story. Yeah. It's I mean, contact center as a service. We're talking about going into that cloud model, which everyone will go to eventually, I think. But CSAS, for example, that's going to grow 50% in 2022. Just this year, it's grown that much already. So, and that sector's looking at growing to have I'm reading some quotes here, but looking at an addressable market of 50 billion by 2025. So we are seeing people moving from that. Did you say 1970s? God.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only one that remembers that on the call.
No, I'm there.
No.
For the years well.
yeah. But no, that's really sort of, what I tell my team, because there are lots of contact centers out there. So when we realised that Chrome was and our customers told us this about a year and a half ago, that Chrome was a good solution fit into contact centers. When we started realising that and building out the go-to-market strategy and everything around that, one of the things we realised is that some of the contact centers that we spoke to, like airlines, great example, Chris. They get it. They love the whole idea and theory and benefits around Chrome, but they're just really frustrated that at the moment they can't go there. But that doesn't stop. There's still a load of customers and a load of prospects that can. Or, and this is not just in contact centers, but across all of our customers. What we tend to find is that we sell them Chrome, and sometimes they say, "Oh, do you know what? I've got Windows everywhere. It's just too difficult, right? Just bringing a new operating system into our business. It's just, I've got so much going on at the moment. I'm trying to cut costs. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. It's too difficult." But what we find is that a lot of those customers or prospects then come back with a use case. So they go, "Oh, actually, can I use it for digital signage? Can I use it on my Citrix? Can I use it? Can I repurpose my devices with Flex? I've got a small contact center. Can I use it in that?" And that's how Chrome really starts to almost organically grow inside a company, which is really exciting. We find that with a lot of our customers actually, that they tend to start fairly small, especially with Flex, because all you need is a USB stick and an old Windows machine to get Chrome going, to try it out. So they try it small and then they grow and grow and grow after that. That's what we've found over the last sort of 5 years. So,
okay,
good. Well, I hope that was useful.
I think it's really interesting. It's always really interesting to look at, how technology is enhancing the industry that we work in, and it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Particularly when you layer on top your security and your sustainability and your productivity. There's just so many sort of wins in there. You're right, it's going to take some time for everyone to migrate, but that's the nature of the beast, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think there's still a lot of people with on-premises, as you said. I think someone was quoting to me that we're only at about 30-35% migration to cloud contact center platforms. So there's a way to go over the next few years. But I think having this thought process about, actually, we're not just going to the cloud for delivering contacts to us, but there's the tentacles that go out to other platforms, and how you can link them together, I think, is something which people need to have in mind when they're thinking about that future architecture.
Yeah, good. I mean, again, more than half of contact centers are now using 6 or more customer communication channels. I read that this morning. So email, chat, inbound voice, outbound voice, and then relatively new channels like SMS and video. So all of that stuff now runs in the cloud. So you've got a great opportunity now with all your other vendors to really look at accelerating this move into the cloud. But there's no point doing that if you have a machine that takes 10 minutes to update, that isn't particularly secure, and that just gives the agent not the best experience. If you're going to go cloud, think about the device. I guess that's my big takeaway from today. Yeah, if that's the one thing you can remember.
Yeah. Okay, well, that brings me on to the last question. This is an interesting one, and it's really want to get your views on this. So obviously the contact center is constantly evolving. So what innovation in the contact center industry are you most interested in about at the moment?
Oh, well, okay. So I was on LinkedIn last night, and my VP John Solomon, he reposted some technology. I don't know if you've seen it, and I can't remember the name of the company, and I should have written it down. But they do 3D booths. Have you seen this?
No.
So
yes, I have seen.
Seen it. Yes, you have video in full 3D. And I know a couple of people that have experienced it, and they just said it is like sitting in front of a person. It's absolutely amazing. So I don't think that's going to come out by Christmas. That for me, that's a really, really exciting technology, because a lot of these contact centers are now using video, which I think is a great tool. So the first thing is, I think video will grow a lot more, because not all contact centers use that at the moment. And the ones that do are getting really good customer experience. But yeah, things like obviously 3D. I know it's a bit science fiction, but I think that's one that really excites me. The other one's AI as well. I think we've been used to voice systems that use your voice to authenticate, and we're all used to those, and they've come leaps and bounds over the last 5 years. They're so super accurate. You can give so much of your information now before you actually get to an agent, which saves the agent so much time, because they can get straight to the problem. So I think the use of artificial intelligence to help with security logons, and just speed up the experience for the customer and for the actual agent. I think that's going to just get better and better and better. So yeah, I think AI is one. And I think, again, things, just tools that help with this remote working, because we are, I don't think we're going to go back. I think hybrid and remote working, I think that's going to remain with us. So everything that enhances that's really exciting. And I think the other one's bring your own device as well. If you could, and I know this is potentially quite a difficult area, but if going back to the sustainability piece, if I could use my personal device to do my job, and all of that was managed properly by the IT team and was secure and everything, then I think that could be a very interesting area going forward, because that massively reduces costs. But question back for you, Chris. Yeah, Chris, you're in this industry, so what about you?
I think that agent experience is something we've got to get our heads around, and how we layer the technology stacks into making the agent experience better. The challenge I think we've got in this country is, because I do a lot of stuff, and I compare, I most recently compared what was going on in some of the overseas contact centres to what's going on in the UK, and we've got a real problem with attrition, as we've talked about, and one of the things I think is a socio-economic issue that in this country we're almost at 100% employment, aren't we? So the people, if it's not great experience in the contact centre, I ain't doing it. I'll go and do something else. There's plenty of other opportunities that for them to do. So we need to really leverage the technology that's out there, whether it be gamification, using AI to support agents, not just trying to deliver answers to customers. AI can be inward facing as well. That kind of stuff, knowledge management and things like this, to really enhance the experience. And the thing you said right at the top, Mike, having to fumble through systems that are badly deployed for an agent, and all they're getting is abuse, or having the brunt of frustration from customers because the tech that they've been given doesn't quite cut the mustard, is what we need to think about, I think.
Agreed.
And I think from my point of view, I think some of the terminology has changed now, and the way we work, because obviously before the pandemic, everybody was talking about home working. That was the terminology. But now, talking to a lot of solution providers and organisations, the new phrase is work anywhere. Not just from home. You can just work from wherever you want to be, wherever it may be. You do your job from there. The way the hybrid and the technology is developed, it's work anywhere now.
If you've got an internet connection, then you should be able to do that. And I think, again, that promotes the use of cloud. That should accelerate going into the cloud, because you can do all of that with a browser-based OS in the cloud. So absolutely. And I think, Chris, back to your point, I think just having one interface. I mean, that I know that's been the nirvana for a long time. I know some contact centers have gone to that model, but having everything just in one screen that's available all the time, backed up by some automatic AI, so that when the customer actually gets to the agent, a lot of their questions have already been answered. Or, to go back to your point, Chris, even if the AI could, if I'm a caller into an energy company, if I can get that answer through an automatic tool, knowledge base, and AI, even with an avatar, talking about science fiction now, but I know a lot of companies have sort of built those. But yeah, if that experience just becomes a lot better, then it's just less stressful for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, well, look, I think that brings us nicely to the close. Really enjoyed this session.
Thank you.
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Really, really good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. So, Michael, thank you so much for your time and all the insights. Absolutely fantastic. Really, really enjoyed it. Chris, thank you for joining me again, my partner in crime here in running these sessions. And I hope whoever listens to the session will enjoy it. I'm sure they will. And once again, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Trevor.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you.